In this video, I want to discuss reducing stress, reducing anxiety, and reversing aging. And I just want to touch on a couple of those things, what that means. First, I want to touch on the aging. I disagree with the disposability of women past a certain age. It's simply rooted in our culture to revere youth, particularly as it pertains to women, and there are biological functions for that I acknowledge and find fascinating. But that's not the point of this video. The reason why we're discussing anti-aging in this video is because it is a byproduct of stress and anxiety reduction. I don't care about how expensive the concealer is, and I don't care how much water you drink. If you aren't taking care of your self holistically, you aren't going to look as young and vital as you're capable of. So let's talk about anxiety a little bit as well. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just a person. Mental health professionals are people too. What I mean when I use the word anxiety in this video is to point to any newness, any lack of familiarity that causes one to experience a lapse in comfort or confidence. That is the genre of anxiety that I'm discussing. And so the tips that I'm going to share are ones that should build upon and in a reserve that makes these experiences much easier. And then when I touch on stress, when I use the word stress in this video, I just want to be very clear. It's corrosive to every system of the self. However, I also want to acknowledge, just for the purpose of well-roundedness, that there is a certain amount of stress that is productive. But I do touch on stress to point to areas when stress is abundant, where it might not be helpful or necessary. Okay, so let's get into it. Number one, the very first tip that I'm going to provide you with is related as much, if not more, to mental health as it is to physical health, which may surprise you. But if you haven't done any experimenting with this, then I encourage you to begin here. And if it's the only thing you do, everything else will come as a result of it. And that is to heal your gut. Whatever you put in your body will change the way you think and feel. Period. This is simply a fact. If one hasn't paid very much attention to the differences in their memory, mood, or otherwise, after eating certain foods or conducted any private personal experiments, then it might be easy to underestimate the impact that food has on one's psyche. There are more neural pathways from the brain to the stomach or the gut than there are to any other part of the human body. So if that doesn't tell you that the gut is a whole second brain, then I don't know what will. 70% of the immune system lives around the gut microbiome. That's most of your health right there. And so the first key to reducing stress and anxiety, and then as a byproduct, reversing aging, take good care of your gut. The second tip would be to eavesdrop on yourself. Eavesdropping on one's own thoughts allows for artistic license of one's thinking. An artistic license of one's thinking is important because the attitude that we have toward ourselves directly impacts the attitude we have toward our world, the attitude we have toward our bodies, the attitude we have toward our minds, our jobs, our relationships, and everything else. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for those people around you who are impacted by your reverberation. So eavesdropping on yourself might look like you're washing the dishes and you're thinking about a conversation that you had that day. I'm such an idiot, so dumb, or like no one cares. It's important to realize that one's doing this. And the thing is, that's the tricky part about eavesdropping on oneself, is that the idea is to do so without judgment. If you eavesdrop on yourself and you notice that you are being harsh, it's tempting to be harsh about the fact that you're being harsh. And so this is like a negative compounding influence. But that is something that you can notice as well. And just noticing over time just breeds more noticing over time. And more noticing just breeds more awareness, which breeds more control or license over how we can choose to conduct our inner dialogue. I wouldn't expect to get everything right the first time. The very fact that you would notice something that you are saying to yourself is good enough. And just keep doing that. It reduces stress and anxiety. It allows you to identify stress and anxiety. What gets measured gets managed, right? Final tip is to practice acceptance. So the Serenity Prayer says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's what the third point is all about. Practicing acceptance. Getting stressed out about things that we don't have any control over is counterproductive and self-damaging. And we won't be able to show up to improve upon the things that we actually can control if we aren't maintaining our inner reserves, energy, integrity, and balance from the things that we cannot. It's not the same as giving up. We're talking about knowing when things are as they are and not allowing them to corrode us from within. That's all I have. I know that was a little bit of a spiritual take. I did not provide any quick fixes here, but nothing that is worth doing can be done fast. Everything takes time. So please do not be frustrated with me if I didn't give you a magic pill. And instead, look within yourself and ask, am I willing to make the necessary changes to profoundly transform my life experience? And if you are, I'm here for you. And if you're not, I'm sure there's something at Whole Foods. I don't want to stop recording this. I'm just having such a fun time with you. But we'll let this go. We'll leave it here, and I'll talk to you in another video. Bye. If you're looking for a video that's going to tell you to drink a bunch of water, that's going to recommend some product, that's not this video. And so if that's not what you're looking for, you might as well click. And maybe I will make a video about what you're looking for in the future. So maybe just come back later. But even plastic surgery will not keep you as young looking as the following tips.